Happy Saturday night, Surgeaholics. Welcome back to the Sooner Surge, our nightly 9:30 program that we have every night for you Sooner faithful that are here. We keep it real. We're passionate. And Coconut Greg starts it off with, have we calmed down or are we still freaking out? Just want to know what energy. I'm going to tell you what energy I'm bringing. That's a great question. It's a construction zone in Norman, Oklahoma. There's some work that has to be done on the O-line. And I better see some changes this week. What's up, Jay?
We'll talk all about it tonight. I've watched a lot of football today, though, and I've seen some bad performances all around. And watching Houston tonight, they haven't scored a touchdown against UNLV. And hopefully OU looks better next week against Houston. That's what you had to look forward to as Sooner fans is it's one game. They're 1-0. They play Houston next. They got to look better. That's all there is to it. Brent Venable says Jake Taylor will be available. So Jake Taylor, the talk on Jake Taylor, if he's the answer, which I've heard a lot of people say that, hey, if Jake Taylor plays, it'll help things considerably. It'll be a totally different O-line. I think we'll get a chance to see it next Saturday night. So we'll see what that does to the O-line. But, yeah, they got to get better there. We all know that. Everybody knows that. For somebody on here, I don't know if it was Chester or somebody said they got bashed on YouTube for talking negative about the O-line. I mean, that's a fact. And the O-line wasn't good. I don't know why people are bashing OU fans and people that say it wasn't good.
Yeah, hey, Dabo Swinney decided to start taking – they got just shellacked today. And, by the way, someone's got to keep us updated on Oregon because – they're in a very tight one against an FCS school. Okay.
Yeah, Idaho's FCS. You're right. 46, I believe 46-point favorite Oregon was tonight.
Okay. I don't know when Deshaun is coming back later than Nick Anderson. I think Nick Anderson's back sooner than Deshaun McCullough.
Yeah, probably. I would think so. Do you think Nick Anderson plays this week?
They said he was day to day. So I don't know, Jay. I do not know.
There's been some decent games today. Yeah, you taking that off now? Yeah, good. That looks a lot better. 17-14, still the score in Oregon. Wow. I mean, you talk about all the games today that I thought would be close. This is not the one, okay? Oregon and Idaho. Unbelievable.
And what exactly is Anderson's injury? It's hamstring, isn't it? I believe it's a nagging hamstring injury.
Yeah, and Dowpost is right. You do got to keep focused. You got to – sometimes you're not firing on all cylinders. I get all that. Here's the deal, Kay. Thanks for joining tonight. What about Woody and Gentry? I think Woody could have played if they really needed him. They decided to hold him out. Brent Venable said Gentry did play, just didn't play a whole lot. Do you think those two are the starters if they're healthy?
No. They're going to play four guys. I don't think so. Hey, I see a lot of DG talking. I don't want to really spend time on it because I've said my thing.
You're gonna, aren't you?
I've said what DG is and who he is, and I've got ripped and ripped and ripped by people. But he's the king of the dunk downs. He's the king of the check down. Go look at his numbers. They're unbelievable tonight. Doesn't matter. Not my quarterback. Don't really care. I hope they lose.
They're punting. They're going to be punting. So, or they forced a field goal, Gary said. So it might be 20-14. Anyway, Dez looked good, John says. I thought Dez looked pretty good. I thought Kenai Walker looked really good, in my opinion. I think Kenai Walker, you heard that he had a great offseason.
Des Malone is one that people are talking about starting. I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying.
I think if Woody and Gentry are both healthy, I think that's probably who goes out there first. That's my opinion. I know Jeremy disagrees, but I think those two, if healthy, are probably your starters. I think Kenai, I don't know about Kenai, but I think Kenai is really good. I don't think Des Malone will be a starter when they get into SEC play if those two guys are healthy.
Yeah, I know a lot of people aren't high on Woody Washington. I still think he's going to be valuable. And someone else I mentioned, Jay, is Jaron Kanak. He about blocked 2 punts. He got the scoop and score. He's going to play a big role in OU this year.
Yeah. Hey, Sooner fan says
You
Thompson was.
cannot make that statement, Sooner fan.
Hey, he wasn't running routes other than one deep that he didn't get separation on. He was running a lot of across the middle stuff. And I looked it up. They most of their passes were from 0 to 10 yards, and then they had some from 10 to 20, but not very. I think only 3 balls over 20 yards they tried. So they did not go down. We talked about are they vanilla or not? They were vanilla in some wide receiver routes. I mean, Deion Burks did not do a whole lot of running different routes. It was very plain on that. But I don't know about vanilla overall. But
Okay, I never said Jaron Canning is it. I said he's going to play a big role on some things. He's going to make some big plays. He already made one, by the way, a scoop and score, which was great.
Yeah, he's going to be a great special teams player. I really believe that. I think he's going to make an impact on special teams this year.
I agree, Mez. Thompson's got to go north and south. Thompson has to go north and south.
Hey,
Crystal, thank you so much. Crystal. Okay, I'll let Jay attest to this.
Yeah, Crystal. Thanks so much. First off, for the super. Really appreciate you. Always support the channel. Thank you so much. About the bet, I lost. Period. I lost the bet. I am not shaving. And what is today's date?
31st, Jay.
31st. I'm not shaving till September 30th. Okay? There you go. You won the bet. I will live up to my bargain. And I will not shave till August or till September 30th. My wife really wanted Clemson to win this today. I'll tell you that, because I don't think my family is going to be very happy over the next month, but I will follow through with my end of the bargain, Crystal.
How did Oregon get a first down on 4th and 7 on an offsides?
Don't know.
Look,
Tatum will start by Tennessee. There's been a few people say that.
Tatum looked good, but it was hard. It's hard to evaluate the running backs after last night. Zach Alley's got a little mustache, Jay.
What's that?
Zach Alley.
No, you don't want me with a mustache. Okay. Don't want that at all. Hey, Tennessee quarterback Nico looked really good.
Yeah, and Ole Miss looks great tonight.
Let me ask this question: Jackson Dart or Nico? Who do you think is the tougher quarterback that OU's going to face?
I think Nico's harder to defend because of his running ability, Jay.
He's young, though. He's young. But, yeah, I agree. Talent-wise, I think he's it.
I agree, Chester. It's hard to evaluate the running backs. It was late when Tatum really did the damage around the left side with the first third down conversion of the game for the Sooners. But I think the other guys can look really, really good, too. You got to block better. Story of the night. It's why I'm wearing a construction shirt with a construction hat, guys. They need to go to work this week.
Hey, speaking of quarterbacks, Jackson Arnold, Nico, and Arch Manning, all the same class. That's some talented quarterbacks right there.
Hey, Vanderbilt may not be the seller. It may be South Carolina. Shane Beamer.
Did they end up winning?
I don't know, but Shane Beamer's time is limited.
Well, so is Billy Napier, what they threw out there today. Wow. And you've seen the stuff on social media from Florida. That place is a dumpster fire, is it not?
It's bad, Jay.
You should never be as bad as they are at Florida. Shouldn't happen.
Hey, and I'm going to say this about Spencer Brown. Spencer Brown was absolutely atrocious. Okay? Absolutely atrocious. But in the same tune, so were several other linemen.
Yeah. Georgia was very impressive. They just always are. I know I picked Clemson, and there for the first half, I felt pretty dang good about it. They were hanging in the game. They made stupid penalties, cost them a couple possessions. But, man, Georgia doesn't even seem like they play that well, and they just destroy people by 20 or 30. Elijah Melendez did decommit from Miami. 4-star linebacker. I think definitely OU's in the hunt on him. He was high on OU. OU was high on trying to get him. He ended up committing to Miami. He decommitted, which was weird timing today. I mean, before the game, it was weird. But he has decommitted. That's right. You know who else? Look, yeah, I'm with you, Cameron. I'm picking this too. That's one of my picks next week. Arkansas over OSU. What about I just lost my train of thought. I'll come up with it just a second.
And I'm going to talk to what Chester's saying here. Chester says, can we start bashing Beatonbow on here, please? I think he needs to go personally. However, I do want to see how this and last year's classes turn out. I'm going to say this, Chester. To say Bill Beatonbow should be gone, I think is ridiculous. I think he's one of the best offensive line coaches. However, in the same tone, I think he's stubborn sometimes. I think he makes adjustments maybe throughout weeks and not in games. And I still think that he will get the job done even this year in figuring out what to do. I do trust that part. However, I am not happy, but it's not time for him to go.
No, I agree with that. I do think Jay Johnson says after today, OU will go 6-6. Here's the thing. You got 4 wins for sure probably on the schedule left. I mean, I think you got Maine. I think you got Houston, Tulane, and South Carolina. To me, if you don't win those, you got real issues. But you win those games. So, Jay Johnson, you would be saying they would be going 2-6 over their next 8 games that we haven't mentioned. That would be a bad spell. I mean, that would be bad. You gotta be. I think this season, and you may disagree, Jeremy, but this Tennessee game, it's going to make or break the season, I think.
It's a massive game. You back that up with Auburn on the road. I am curious, Ron. Yeah, you got OU going 7-5. I still got OU at 9-3. I think they're going to figure some things out, but I think some changes have to be made for that to happen. There's got to be some change on the line. I'll get to that in a minute. But, Ron, what's Oregon going to go? You still got them winning the Big Ten? Still got them in the playoff? Because they don't look great tonight. Did DG just throw a TD? Because they scored.
They scored. Outside of who are we talking about? Anton. Maybe I'm
look. Hey, Chester, it's a fact. He's got as many guys in the league as anyone else. So I don't know about that comment.
Who's the losses to? We've discussed this before. Go ahead and say it here.
I don't have – here's what I got. I got OU going undefeated at home. And then I got them losing to possibly Texas and then 2 of the 4 road games in the SEC. I don't know which ones yet. 2 of the 4 road games.
Yeah, Jen says it all depends on the O-line. It does. Jackson Arnold was pretty good under pressure with blitz and picking up the blitz, and he was really good in play action. So I think the O-line, that's where everything's going to hinge. And you got to see some improvement this week.
Hey, Crystal, no. Don't even leave it up to the chat. And if you did, the Surgeaholics would come through because I'm a man of my word. I came through with the trumpet. I do what I say I'm going to do. Jason needs to live up to his end of the bargain.
Whatever, Jerm. Whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter to me. No one picked OU to beat Texas last year. There's a reason we shoot up and play. You're right, Coconut, but you got to see some improvement. I mean, let's just talk about the O-line for a second, okay? Let's just say Hickman's out, which I kind of have the feeling he will be this week with that injury. We'll see. Let's say he's out. Do you leave Hatchett at center, or do you try to play Bates? That's one question I have. The other one is, if Jake Taylor's going to play, which it sounds like he is, what do you do on the left side? Do you move Sexton to tackle, or do you leave Tarquin at tackle and leave Sexton at guard?
I know a lot of people are still saying stick with Tarquin, but if I would do it right now, Hatchett would be the center if Hickman can't go. I'm finding a spot for Heath Azida to start, whether that's tackle or guard. If it's guard, Sexton goes to tackle on the left side. Heath Azida can play tackle. It was his natural position. Heath Azida was really good last night, guys.
I thought Azida was pretty good. I think Tarquin.
Tarquin is 70.
Yeah, he's number 70. What's y'all's starting line? Okay, let me say this.
I just gave mine.
Yeah, to me, this is what I would do. And I'm not a coach, and I don't know O-line that well, but I'm going to give you my opinion. I would go, if everybody's healthy, Hickman at center, Hatchett at guard, left guard, Sexton at left tackle. Right side, Fabetti at guard, Taylor at tackle. To me, if everybody's healthy, that's the 5. You got Sexton and Taylor on the bookends. You got Hatchett and Fabechi on the interior. You got Hickman in the middle. That, to me, if they're all healthy, is the best 5.
If they're all healthy, and if not, Azida should start.
And I do think Azida's right on that edge. I would agree with that.
Azida's got to get the chance.
What do you guys think in the chat? Like, who do you think should be out there? Some of the young guys, who do you think? EPL? I mean,
the problem with EPL and Eugene Brooks is they're more of a guard position, so that's not really the need necessarily right now.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You got to figure out.
Heath Azida played last night and played well.
Yeah, and they had so many guys played. Like, I think Spencer Brown played 2 different positions. I know Tarquin did. They got to figure some things out and let them build some community together, because communication's big too on that O-line, and they got to get it figured out. I think before Tennessee. So the Tulane, I think you need to have the 5 you would hope for. I don't know if they'll be able to do that with injuries though.
Bobby's got
Sexton,
that's the 5 I want. That's exactly right, Bobby. That's what I think too.
Bobby, would you say the same thing if Hickman's healthy?
Well, no, Jay.
Okay. Well, you would.
If Hickman's healthy, it changes, Jay.
You said Ozida no matter what, though, right? You said you wouldn't play Hatchet if Hickman's healthy.
No, I never said that.
Yeah, you did.
I said I wouldn't play Tarquin. I would play Ozida.
So you wouldn't play Hatchet either?
Hatchet can start
where
if Hickman's back at guard.
So not Ozida. Okay.
But if Azida plays this week and tears it up, I'm likely to go him over Hatchet, Jay.
I like Ozida. I think it might be his time. Hey, here, if you want to complain about Bill Beatenbow at all, I think the one thing you could say is he does seem to not play the young guys when you would think they're ready. For example, Caden Green did not start till game 4 last year.
Maybe they're not ready.
But Caden Green was ready last year, was he not?
When he came in.
You don't think he was ready the 3 games before that?
I don't know if it was, Jay. It doesn't really matter. Is Caden Helms healthy? He played but never got the ball. Yes, he's healthy. He played, was a blocking tight end mainly, but he is healthy.
I would go with Hickman of good to go. Get them ready. Get the youngsters ready. A lot of people are saying that. Yeah, you got to figure things out offensively. I mean, they just got to. They shouldn't have any issues against Houston. I do think Tulane's going to pose some issues.
Bradley, you're right. I know Ole Miss looked really good today, and Bradley, you are correct. 13-13 Notre Dame A&M. I really hope A&M can pull that out.
Hey, I didn't say you can't second guess Bill. I just don't think he should be fired. I mean, I think Jeremy was second guessing somebody who said they should let him go.
Wait, guys, let me talk again so that people don't misinterpret what I said. I am upset with the offensive line. It does not mean Bill Beatenbow should be fired. I can say that, but Bill Beatenbow's a little different. He's more old school, a little bit stubborn in some ways. Isn't great in-game adjusting because I think he believes that they've got to do it at practice and then he'll make some changes. I think he'll make changes.
Yeah,
it's a fact. He's a great line coach.
Carvan, Oklahoma, that is one thing. In fact, watching the game, I said it to somebody. There's not any nastiness. There wasn't yesterday. Now, we'll see if that changes. But they didn't have any nastiness about him at all yesterday, I didn't think. They weren't finishing blocks very well from what I watched. Our Moose said, game 1, we have time to improve. I want the team to be its best in November. I agree 100%, Moosehead. I agree. Let's see it.
And last year, people really wanted to get on the O-line. They weren't near as bad as people said they were. Dylan Gabriel was protected pretty well all year, Jay. Pass protection was good. Once they got Sawchuk going, he averaged well over 100 actually the last 6 games of the year. They were running the ball.
Damon, you're right. And here's the thing. If you listen to any of the off-season talk, like in fall camp and stuff, it's not like this. I don't think this was a surprise to the coaching staff yesterday. Do you? Offensive line wise. I don't think it was. I think they've been seeing it in scrimmages and practice. It hasn't been very good. I think they know that. But now what do you do to fix it? Time is ticking, man. It's like a ticking time bomb. You got to get it ready before Tennessee rolls in, or that D line will pounce for sure. Blake,
Blake says,
appreciate it.
Thanks for the super, Blake from Utah. Moved John Terry to O-line.
Not,
Maybe the fullback for short yardage, but he will not play O-line. Sooner fan, tell me how you know he's losing his edge. I watched him and Brent Venables pretty much go at it on the sideline. Did you see that a clip that was played? They were not happy. Okay, I don't know what losing his edge means. I don't understand that.
Yeah, I'm not sure either on that one. Hey,
that's my problem. I'm going to defend people on that because I don't know how you said he's lost his edge. What does that even? Is he stubborn sometimes? Absolutely. Does he change a lot during the game? No. Should he? Probably sometimes, but he doesn't. But I do trust that he's going to make some changes. I don't think we're going to see Spencer Brown out there this week, Jay. Do you?
I hope not, but I'm not confident in saying that. Hey, let's switch gears for a minute, because how many games legitimately can this defense win OU? Like, throw it on the back, strap it on, and how many can they win them?
I was thinking about that, Jay.
Because they're really good, I think, defensively.
I was thinking about that as I was watching A&M and Notre Dame, as I was watching other teams, Michigan, as I was watching teams kind of struggle offensively. I think OU can be in a lot of tight games. And I think they got a quarterback that can make big plays in big moments if the O-line can get right.
Let's say the O-line doesn't get right, Jeremy. How many can this defense take you to? What's the best case scenario? 8?
Maybe 8 if the O-line doesn't get any better.
And that would be you'd have to have a great performance from the defense a lot. So I think 8's a stretch. Unless this O-line gets together. But I'm not saying it won't. I'm just saying they got to fix it. If you throw out there what you did against Temple, guys and gals, it will be a long year, right?
Correct. And Chester, where I'm going to disagree, to say that he's gotten complacent, go ask any NFL guy that's in there, even the guys that graduated last year. Go ask Walter Rouse. Go ask Tyler Guyton. He's the best there is, they're going to say. Now, I'm not going to say he's the best there is, but I don't think he's a complacent guy, okay? Hey. I wish we could hear from him in a presser, because I think it'd be a big deal. But I do want to get to a comment. Besides Burks, no playmaking wide receivers, and that's actually a fact. Hey, we need the other guys back.
Yeah, I want to get to Randy's question or comment. Randy, thanks for joining. 4 passes that could have been caught, and you guys would be singing Boomer Sooner. I'm still singing Boomer Sooner, Randy. But even if 4 passes would have been caught, I still would be saying the O-line didn't play very good, because I think that's a fact. I mean, I listen, I understand all the people that say there's so much negativity towards the O-line, but I mean, I understand people can say that, but I don't know how you can watch that game and say they were good and you think they're going to be great this year. I mean, they got to. Now, I do think if Taylor plays next week, and maybe he is the answer, we'll find out. I think it's more than him. They got other guys injured that have to get healthy. Hickman's got to get healthy.
Farouk's injury, Kay, is his foot. Going to have surgery, out 6 to 8 weeks. Maybe could be back by Ole Miss, maybe South Carolina if everything goes well. I've got to get back to this. I don't give anything about the NFL either, Chester. I was just saying the guys that played under Bill Bedenbaugh would say he hasn't been complacent. And the other thing is, maybe Hunter can help me out. I don't think an O-line that sucks, Chester, is a top 5 offense in the nation. How? Go look at sacks the last 2 years. They weren't up. The running game the last 2 years has been pretty darn good. If we want to, the offense was top 5 last year in the country. If they were top 5 in the country with a horrible offensive line coach and an average quarterback, then Jeff Lebby must be the best thing since sliced bread.
T-Bell says, anybody whining about the game tonight simply doesn't know what they're talking about. Every game is a deception and preparation for Tennessee. I will say this, that listening to Brent Venables talk about they didn't try to go down the field. I understand that. But I think my talking about the offensive line is I'm talking about pure effort on offensive line. I didn't see a whole lot of guys finishing blocks. To me, I don't care if you're preparing for Tennessee and not showing much. You can still dominate your man across the side of the ball. And they weren't doing that on the offensive line. Now, there were some real good positives from this game, I think. Defensively, outstanding. Kendall Dolby's a special player, I think.
He's great.
Kendall Dolby's special. The defensive line, I think that interior is really, really good. And they're deep. Okay? So those are positives. The kicking game was an absolute positive. Keltner looked like he can actually kick the football, and they got a kicker this year. I mean, he was dead on with those kicks. That's a positive. Special teams in general was a positive. Offense, Jackson Arnold, I think, looked good. Running backs, I think if they have space to run, they're good. I think my only negative really from the game was the offensive line. So people can say I'm being negative. I've only been negative about the offensive line. No other part of the Oklahoma team have I been negative about it yet. So I don't understand.
Yeah, I know. And Chester, I was a huge Lebby guy too. I was. And facts are, Dalpois, maybe they weren't top 5, but they were statistically. I know that was skewed, but they weren't getting sacked all. They weren't getting sacked all over the place. And I got to get to this.
Hey, real quick before you do, why wasn't Tennessee playing bad today to prepare for OU? I mean, why did they just go out there and dominate on offense? I mean,
it was a joke, Jay. The comment was two things. Two things. Coconut Greg said Sharp was a positive. He was a positive in the passing game. Left much to be desired in the blocking game. I am going to say that if you go back and rewatch it, wasn't his best performance blocking wise. And the other comment I was going to get to was, I believe it was Cracker Mac, maybe, who evaluated Spencer Brown. I've got a quote for you, Cracker Mac. And Jay, would you agree with this quote from one of the famous movies? I don't even know what it's from, but here it is. Desperate times call for desperate measures. They were desperate when they went and got Spencer Brown. Facts. They had lost Caden Green. Number-wise, they didn't have guys coming in. They saw his size and said, we got to go get this guy.
Hey,
desperate times call for desperate measures.
Okay, I love the two-back, two-tight end set. I hope to see more of it. Jay Johnson, 55, is Eddie Pierre-Louis. He just arrived in Oklahoma in like July, so he is like fresh off out of high school. He'll get better. He's just very young. And yeah, I see what you're saying on that.
Daniel,
he's not
Daniel Akinkumi, I think, is going to be redshirted. Someone was asking about him. I don't know if he is. He's got great size, but I don't think he's going to make it on the field much this year. I think EPL does. Blake says if we had this defense last year, do we go undefeated? No. If we have this defense and Jackson Arnold, I think we win a Big 12 championship, but probably not a playoff.
Hey,
the fact
Randy,
of the matter is, though, you had playmakers last year, and we didn't get them the ball much.
Hey,
and this year we've got to find a way to get the guys the ball.
Yeah, thanks, Randy. I do. I obviously love the Crimson and Cream, but and I feel a little bit differently than I did last night when we did a live right after the game. You have your thoughts going through your head. I watched the game again today, and I saw quite a bit of positives other than the O-line. It's the O-line is where it hinges with me. And I cannot come on here today after watching it again and say the O-line, I'm excited about what they have there. I can't.
Can't either.
And for people to say, well, if they get some guys healthy, and I understand that if people say that, but even the guys are saying if they get healthy, Jake Taylor, which I think Jake Taylor's going to be a really good player, but he hasn't played. Like, what are you basing it off of, right? So for me, like, just to have upside with this offensive line, it's not like you're basing it on somebody that you know can play because they've played a lot. Now, can Jake Taylor play? Yeah. But do we know what he's going to look like in game one? No.
Jen says, I think we have some good O linemen that are young. One of those guys in Carvin, Oklahoma, agrees. Josh Bates, I know Hunter and I were pretty high going into the season. Then they
Yeah,
get
what's
Hickman.
going on there?
Then they get Hickman out of the portal. Hickman goes down. I 100% thought Bates was coming in. It didn't even cross my radar that Hatchett was going to move to center. I know Hatchett's comfortable there. He's played there before. I love Josh Bates. All we've heard kind of in the offseason was Josh Bates was pushing Hickman to start. And then he can't get in as the backup?
But is he? I think he's banged up too, Jeremy.
Jay, did you see this?
I only saw a couple of quotes. I did not watch the whole presser.
What were your thoughts on the quotes you saw?
I don't think he was happy.
He seemed ticked.
Well, I mean, not surprisingly. You know, Bill Beatenbow and Seth Luttrell have a great relationship. Well, we've talked about it in the offseason. And I thought the O-line in the running game would be really good. They got to figure some things out running the ball wise. You got to establish a better run so they can use the play action. Jackson Arnold was really good in play action when they used it. But you got to be able to establish a run to do that. Maybe Saturday night at 11 o'clock in our post-game live, we have a totally different view after watching Houston. Maybe they go out there and the O-line looks really good. We'll see. I'm just calling after one game. And Daniel's right.
Exactly.
I don't know who said that
It
about
was
the
Chester.
last 5 years, but who did?
Chester was the one when I said they were top 5 offense last year. Sacks weren't high at all. Gavin Sawchuk averaged over 100 yards the last 6 or 7 games of the year. The O-line did not suck.
If you look traditionally, the offensive line by middle to end of the year usually looks a lot better. So that's something to hang your hat on with Bill Beatenbow. They do get better. That's you cannot say that. They've had this problem before. Do you remember last year? What was the second game of the year? It was SMU, and they looked awful. Remember the Savion Bird stuff? They had
absolutely
moved guys around.
They just got to make them
the year. But all I'm saying is you can't wait that long this year with this schedule. You can't. They
got to make improvements. And I do like what Kay says. I think running the ball could help a lot. Jackson Arnold was good in play action last night. I do like what the hub says about rolling him out a little more. But if you can run the ball a little more and maybe establish that, the passing game is going to be a lot easier. Maybe you get better pass protection. But, Jay, the running backs, and I know this will be something maybe we can talk to Daniel about when we have him on, is pass protection wasn't good from the backs.
No, and that's the thing. The communicating from the O-line, you got to be a unit. You got to play a lot together. A lot of those guys, they're moving around so much they can't really get in a rhythm. They got to figure that out. And I know injuries are a part of it. I understand that. But to me, I think you're going to find out. You're going to learn more about this O-line this week than you did last week. Because I do think Jake Taylor playing, if he's going to play, if you have him and Sexton in there together and it's still really, really bad, then officially call me very, 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 very concerned.
Looks like Notre Dame scored.
Not sure.
TD Notre Dame. And if they win this road game, they're likely on a crash course to the playoff because I don't see more than one loss with that schedule. Sawchuk can't run at all. That's a horrible take if you're saying Sawchuk can't run at all.
No, he only had 6 carries. You can't base it off 6 carries. Sooner Cowboys, they played 2 quarterbacks tonight. One of them.
I like Donovan Smith. I can't believe they benched him.
Well, he turns the ball over a lot. He's not that accurate, I don't think, of a passer. So we'll see.
Sawchuk never Sawchuk was not hurt. Sawchuk never had a hole, never had an opening to kind of get loose. Sawchuk is the type of back who waits for the hole, and then once he gets one, he hits it pretty good. He's not a guy who gets the ball and just attacks. He's a patient runner.
What do you think the line's going to be? I would say like 30.
Yeah, I would say 30. I am excited about Tatum.
Yeah, I am too.
How can you not be?
Yeah, that's right. So, do you think Hickman plays this week?
I've not heard if it's high or low ankle sprain. They were pushing on his top of his foot up on the ankle. Look, I will say this because I've been around athletes. I've coached runners. I've been in with the athletic trainers. They put him in a boot immediately. That is because they're just protecting him, moving it much. Those boots do. I mean, guys walk in boots all week and then play on Saturday and then put the boot on Sunday. I'm not saying he's playing this week. I am saying I don't think he's going to be out significant amount of time.
Starting wide receivers for next
From
game.
Dr. Jeremy right there.
Who do you got?
Well, it depends. If Nick Anderson is ready to go and the hamstring is healed up, I got Anderson, Deion Burks, and I'm gonna go Andrew Anthony if he's healthy. I just don't know. He didn't look like he was himself yesterday.
I think it's probably going to be, if Anderson's healthy, Anderson, Thompson, and Burks is probably what they're going to go with.
What young receiver are you most excited about, Jay?
The guy I want to see more of is Petaway. I want to see more Petaway.
You're not, Jay.
Why?
He's Burke's backup.
No, try moving him out to where Farouk was. Why not?
They're not going to do that, Jay.
Why, Jeremy?
Because Zion Kearney. I think Zion Kearney is the guy, dude. And I'm very hyped on Zion Kearney.
What makes you think they can't move him to the outside where Thompson was?
They could. I think Zion Kearney's the option there.
I'd like to give Petaway a chance. He was too hyped, man.
Who tore his MCL?
Who said that?
Someone said Brennan Thompson tore his MCL. I have not seen that. That's weird because he was playing.
Jay Johnson, I think he is. Now, they're probably going to give him more chances because of the depth issue with injuries, but I don't know. All the hype you heard from the offseason, you thought, okay, maybe let's see what happens. And then he gets out there and drops one and really didn't go after another one. So
Crystal drops supers and she dropped.
That's a great comment.
Drop some truth here. Offense looked worse than it is. Defense looked better than it actually is. Okay. And I agree he should get a chance. And, hey, Ivan Carrion is a guy I like, too, with the size. But I like Kearney a little better. That's personal opinion.
Are you talking about yesterday's game or next week's game, Dalpost? Let me know.
Yeah, next week. Let us know if it's next week or last night.
Yeah, there it is. Mess says Petaway plays both, so.
Maybe he gets a chance, Jay.
Could possibly. Yeah, I haven't heard anything on the Thompson deal. So yesterday, my player of the game defensively, Kendall Dolby. Offensively, I would probably say, Arnold was good, guys. I think no turnovers. I think Arnold was good, and then kicker Keltner was outstanding. So
yeah, special teams is Keltner, Arnold, and Haltner, who I got. I got Grayson Halton as my defensive player yesterday. I think he was phenomenal.
Yeah, the whole D was really good. But Kendall Dolby, I think they figured out Cheetah. Don't mess with it now. I think you got two right there that are great, and one's really young. Samuel Masigo. Yeah, I'm excited.
Randy, the tight ends were used more. I will say that.
Not very much.
But they were used more than they were last year, way more than Stogner ever was.
Yeah.
A lot of two tight end sets. Also, Jay, when they went two backs, it was Cade McIntyre that was in, which was interesting. Otherwise, it was Roberts and Bauer Sharp.
Where do you see Deshaun playing when he gets healthy?
He's going to play linebacker, Jay.
Just rotate all the guys, rotate them all in.
Yeah, and they're going to rotate. They're going to move Dolby around some, I think. He's 6'5". Get his hands up. OU did have a batted ball yesterday. It was Trace Ford, believe it or not.
And, yeah, by the way, defensively, you could easily go player of the game, Grayson Hall.
That's what I said. I said Grayson Hall.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Were you even listening to me?
I guess I didn't hear that. Sorry.
Is the shirt too bright for you to see? For you to hear?
It kind of is bright. I'm not going to lie. I'm blinded.
I'm curious on what Clark means by not as mobile. I actually thought he scrambled pretty well, ran the ball okay.
I think here's my deal.
He's not Michael Hawkins.
Maybe I'm the only one that thought this last night. But the way he looks size-wise and wearing that stinking number 11, I could not get Davis Bevel out of my head.
Oh, my goodness.
No, not in the way he plays, just the look and everything. I'm like, gosh,
so much thicker than Davis Bevel.
But I was getting these flashbacks. Davis Bevel, golly, when he was running the ball that one time, I was like, Davis Bevel.
Arnold's mobile. Arnold is definitely mobile.
I know he is. I'm not comparing him to Davis Bevel by any. I'm just saying that number brought back flashbacks, man. Bevel was a beast.
Randy.
Go ahead, Jeremy. Go ahead, Jeremy.
80 players, good. I'm all for it. I think they could have played even more. I hope the amount of players they played on defense is what they do every week. Every week.
Yeah. Are you in favor of rotating as much as they did, or letting the starters go for like a whole quarter and a half, 2 quarters, and then bringing guys in? Like, because they brought.
I like rotating guys on defense.
They brought Taylor Tatum in second series.
I did not know, Bop, that the Hanson concert was canceled tonight at the Gathering Place here in Tulsa.
Was it because storms or what?
Absolutely. It was pouring down, man. Bop. Yes. More of that, please. Barnes and Tatum, 2-back set. Franklin and Tatum. Sawchuk and Tatum. Sawchuk and Barnes. All here for it.
Yeah, Randy says depends on the position and player.
It does. It does.
Chuck says, guys, watching these other SEC teams, I think we will be in trouble this year, guys. You know what? We're going to find out. We're going to find out. I do think, and I think it's because of the history of the last 5 or 10 years of Oklahoma's defense. I don't think there's enough people talking about Oklahoma's defense. I think Oklahoma's offense carried them for so many years and won them games. That this year, I think it's going to be flipped. I think the defense is going to win them. They will absolutely win them games they shouldn't win. I think the defense will do that. If you don't turn the ball over offensively, and there may be games where you're just like, move the ball and punt it. I mean, I'm serious. This defense, I think, is really good. Were they good enough to get you to? We'll see. We'll find out. The offense has to come around. If the defense can get you through Tennessee game, and give the offense 3 or 4 weeks to try to get it together.
Did Auburn play today, Jay?
What?
How bad did Auburn win today?
They look good, but they weren't playing anybody, but they look good. The SEC stuff, it is what it is.
Hugh Freeze is going to have them ready for that first road test for OU. Stop the blasphemy, Jay.
What?
Stop the blasphemy.
What do you mean?
Never compare any OU player to Davis Bevel.
Stop. Hey. Sooner fan says, how many times in years past has the defense looked good in non-con and then showed there's been years that they've done that. I mean, last few years, I think you get through the non-con and you think they're going to be great, and then they struggled and had some bust. I just think they have more guys that can play in that rotation, and they've been in the defense for a long time now, 3 years, some of those guys. I don't think you're going to have as many busts this year. I think that's what held them back in years past. And the other difference is, they haven't had an interior defensive line like this in a long time. You can't say they have, because even in years past when they would play bad teams in the non-conference, their defensive line would not do the work they did last night. They put in work last night, and it showed. They are different in the middle of that defensive line.
Jeff Lebby hung 56 on Eastern Kentucky. Blake Shapen looked good. Yep, you're right, Crystal. Good for him. Look. Oh, this is a fact, I think, Jane. I think we can probably say it. Chuck says what needs to be done on offense. The offensive line's got to be better, and we got to see what the offense really looks like under Seth Luttrell when they open it up. I will say this. OU's going to have to win some games 24-17. You're going to have to. You're in the SEC. That's what you do.
You got to win close games, and you're probably going to have to win it defensively. I'm not saying they can't get there offensively. They got a lot of skilled players still. They are injured in some key areas. Wide receiver. I mean, you're talking about 2 guys that were going to be difference makers. Farouk and Gibson. They're injured. Offensive line, you got a lot of guys banged up. They're not out for the season or anything, but they're banged up. And it makes a difference. The O-line, they're going to live and die with this O-line, I think. So figure it out. Maybe Jake Taylor, after the Houston game, we're sitting here thinking, wow, Jake Taylor changed that whole defensive line, or whole offensive line by the way he played. And he is a he is a guy that is very intense and nasty. We were talking earlier about there's no nastiness. Jake Taylor's got nasty in it, and so does Bates, but Jake Taylor specifically.
Speaking of just energy and nastiness, is Zach Alley. I'll say this. Someone said Ted Roof was the problem. Never did you hear players talk about Ted Roof like they're talking about Zach Alley. It is night and day difference what's coming out of the OU players' mouths when talking about Zach Alley. They absolutely love him. They talk about how great he is of a coach. Love everything about him. They carried him, lifted him up, kind of spun him around. He was pretty much crowd surfing there with the players. That's the main reason the defense, along with who they got on defense, is going to be elite.
Yeah, I think Zach Alley's a big difference maker. And it was great to hear him say that he called the defense, and Brent Venables had some input, but even Brent Venables told him a couple times, great call. That's a good call. So it's nice to know that BV is like kind of relinquishing that to a little bit to Zach Alley. Next week's game, OU versus Houston. OU, the weather looks elite. You're talking high of the 80 for the day, and no rain in the forecast.
Hey,
it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Great atmosphere, I would think. They're going to be wearing the throwbacks, which will be cool to see them in the throwbacks. And let's just hope. And guys, we got 5-6 more days to a game. Maybe they go out there and it's a totally different offensive line with Sexton Taylor.
I think there's going to be changes. Big thing here for Surgeaholics. Tomorrow night, Steve Stutzman joins us. Sunday night with Stutz. Bring your comments. Ask him anything. He won't be bashful. He'll answer you. I'm sure he will. He was wanting you to ask him things last week. Sunday night with Stutz is tomorrow. Also got Trent Rattery doing a video on Monday as we'll break that down, coming early in the week. And then we'll start looking at that OU versus Houston matchup next Saturday, 6:45 kick at the Palace on the Prairie. Cannot wait. We'll get after it again. We will see you all tomorrow night with Sunday night with Stutz.